She says she's out of her element. I am too. I normally don't do this. I've never run for any government council, city council, anything. I mean, I've worked all my life. So just to start off, tell you a little bit about me. My dad's 8 brothers and sisters were raised here in Sheridan. They moved here during the Dust Bowl era in 1934. Of course, I have like 65 relatives here in town, so I have plenty of family around. My aunt and uncles ran the PK Ranch during the 50s and 60s. My grandmother had a restaurant downtown. It's called the Silver Spur now. I guess I was born and raised in California. Don't hold that against me. It's not my fault. I was up here all my life, and I knew someday I'd always live here. Migrated down to San Diego when my dad got transferred when I was 15. Started school there, graduated there. Been working since I was 15. Got married. Married 32 years, divorced. After that, I met my wife Kathleen. This April will be 20 years. It's the best thing that's ever happened. I can say moving up here to Sheridan, that was a big one. I got that in there. Moving up here to Sheridan was something I always wanted to do. Being in the trucking industry and heavy equipment for 42 years, that was my life. I always worked 7 days a week, 100 hours a week. I never wasn't not working. I'm 71 now, I still work 7 days a week. That's what I do. I take care of my clients, I take care of my family. I guess in 2016, kind of life changed a little bit. Lost my daughter to cancer, so I retired from the mine, and I just couldn't deal with life for a little bit. Always wanted to get into real estate, so I thought I can't go on like this. I've got to get my head straightened out and get with the program. Life goes on. So I got into real estate, and I love it. It's great. I enjoy it. I would love working with people, talking with people and helping them out. Veterans, first-time buyers is one of the greatest things, to help a veteran out and a first-time buyer. Been around, I don't know. I had a whole thing how I was going to do it, and just my mind's just going through like crazy right now. So, but yeah, it's being here. This is the best place to be. My son is still in California, and he just calls me every once in a while and says, "We got to get out of here." He said, as soon as you can do and get what you can do to come up. So I think they'll all be up here sooner or later. I have a daughter here and 2 grandchildren. They in junior high and 1 in high school. I'm hoping you do have the board people here from the schools, because we seriously need to take the schools back. City council can't do anything about it, but there's a lot of bullying and stuff going on in the schools, and I've already talked to a couple of them already, and one of the biggest things is get the cell phones out of schools. They shouldn't be in there. A lot of stuff going on. I've been involved in seeing some of it, and I don't think it's right that they're even having it in schools. It's just not right. My granddaughter's been bullied. I was personally saw as we were walking out of her dad, my son-in-law's funeral. He died from COVID last year. As we were walking out, she got a phone call from a boy in school. And she goes, "Hello," and he says, "Knock, knock." She goes, "Who's there?" And he says, "Not your dad." So I'm telling you folks, if you don't have control of your kids and what's going on in their phones, please do that, because it's not good. So I'll take questions, because I kind of blew out everything I was going to say.
I do have one more thing
Yes, go ahead.
that I forgot to mention. Shame on me for not mentioning this. But with our format, those of you who've been here, you've heard this spiel before. But just want to make sure that our questions, that we are respectful. This isn't a debate. We didn't call Jack up here for debate and all of this. We just want to get an idea of some of the ideas he has for Sheridan and kind of where he stands on certain issues. But I just, again, wanna make sure that, we're just respectful, and, he took time out of his busy schedule to come and talk to us, so I want to reward that with him having a good feeling as he's leaving. That was it.
I think, yeah. If I don't have answers for you tonight, I'll get them. Kathleen's definitely gonna be taking notes down there for me, and, so we'll see what happens.
Hi Jack, my name's Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Just to add on to your introduction, why run for city council now? What spurred you to want to be on the city council? Politics can be pretty ugly.
Well, yeah, and I'm hard-nosed enough to where I don't care. I'll take, I can go toe-to-toe with anybody. The reason I started to do is, a couple years ago, I started listening to more of what's going on in the city. Being in real estate, I'm also a city ambassador, so I do a lot of promotion through the city and council. I get to see a lot, I get to talk to a lot of business people. Ever since our daughter passed, we donate money, and we also help get donations for the hospital for early detection cancer screening program. So I decided to get involved because I see a lot of what I see money being wasted. There's things that have been voted on this past 6 months that I've been going to the council meetings that I would not have voted on. There are things that we need to make sure our housing continues to grow. The problem is with this economy, I've been through it being 71, I went through the Carter administration, the Reagan administration, Vietnam, all that stuff. I've seen our economies go like this. We're heading to a major deal. We're heading for a really major deal. But we gotta, if our housing stops, we're gonna stop. The city's gonna stop. We're growing. They're estimated 800 homes within the next 10 years. We need to make sure there's single-family, multi-family homes in a price range where people can afford it. You can't build $500,000 and $800,000 condos and expect people to afford that. You know who you're building for. You're not building for our community, you're building for certain people. Nothing against them, but we gotta make sure we take care of us. This is a great community. We have a lot of people, first-time buyers and locals that have really worked their butts off, and they can't afford a home. And by building something they can't afford, what are we doing? Let's help them out. I've got an idea that I've talked to a couple of them about it, the city administrator and stuff, about starting a grant program to help locals only be able to pull $5,000 off a grant to help them for their down payment and closing costs, or buy down their interest rate because it's getting so high. Now if that will go through or not, I don't know, it's just an idea. I think a lot outside the box. I don't go by the book. You can't raise your city by a book. It just, things change too many times, and you just gotta think outside the box and see what you can do to make things better.
Thank you.
Yes.
Kind of to follow up on that, because real estate is a pro-growth industry.
Mm-hmm.
One of my concerns with having 3 real estate agents running for city council is I almost feel like there might be a little bit of conflict of interest there. But having you say kind of what you did about, more affordable type housing, I get that, but I do get concerned because obviously the higher the value, the better it is for real estate agents, really, too, when they're doing their transactions and things like that. So would you say, obviously growth for Sheridan is inevitable, but would you say that you would favor, I'm sure you've heard this before, we don't want to turn into another Jackson Hole, right? And I feel like we're kind of heading that direction. So I don't know, what are some things you could tell me as a person concerned about real estate agents in city council, and how that might, there's something in there that seems like, that might be a conflict of interest in some ways.
I agree with you. First of all, Jackson Hole City Council and Jackson Hole's county commissioners have messed that place up. They wish they were more like Sheridan. I would never want Sheridan to be a Jackson Hole. I think we're better. I think our community's better. I think our people are better. No disrespect to them, but we are a community, very proud community. As far as your answer for, you know, it is funny because there's an agent that's in the planning department. And I thought, when he got on there, I thought, that's not right. They shouldn't be there. They get to see what's gonna be built ahead of time. They get to see who's gonna plan stuff ahead of time. And I feel that that's a conflict of interest. I agree with you on that. As an agent, I didn't run as an agent. I'm not running as an agent. I know Terry was running. I didn't know Lynette was running until we got into this. You know, I've cut down a lot of what I'm gonna do. I've already planned on cutting back on what I'm gonna do. I don't care if a house is $100,000. I don't care if it's $1 million. I would rather help the little guy. What I mean, the little guys, the lower income family is the one I care to help. If I don't care if I sell my house or not. It doesn't matter. I get a Social Security. I'm gonna make a living whether I get a house sell or not. My goal is to help people, and that's what I plan to do. I want lower income housing, and I don't mean, and I'm a member of Habitat. So I know right now that the city, the county, and Habitat are working together to build a lower income housing project. I don't know what the cost will be, but I know it'll be to where people can afford it. Anybody can afford it. And if not, they'll be able to get help to be able to get in. Habitat will not be able to use any of that money for them. It will be for the community only. So that's one thing that's coming. I've been a little bit involved in it, not too much. If I do get on the council, I'm backing out of Habitat because I don't want a conflict of interest there. I think it just, with me, it just happened to be like I'm an agent. You know, I don't look for dollar signs. I tell people, and I've told people, many of my clients, when we go for, let's just, for example, they'll talk about, well, I'd like to get a home warranty. Well, a home warranty is about $600. And I tell them, I will try and get you a home warranty. If I can't get it for you through the seller, I will take care of it. And I've done that. It's like, one, I've always been taught to be a man of your word, and what you say, you better stick to it. So it's, I don't know about being an agent. For me, I'm not looking to make any dollar signs out of this. You don't get paid for this. It's $1,000 a month. I mean, I could do something else and not get yelled at for $1,000 a month. You know, I mean, so I don't know. It could be a conflict of interest. I guess if you use it for you, I guess it would be. I'm not getting into this to help me. So that's just not me. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks so much for coming. That's very
Well,
cool.
yeah, thanks for inviting me. I've never been involved, so I'm kind of just wondering all the way down here, oh, am I gonna get yelled at all night long? I'm gonna go home with shorter pants or something. I have something going on.
For those of us that don't know you, can you tell us your 3 top issues that are your main concerns?
Do what?
Describe your 3 top issues for the city that are your main concerns.
Well, 3 top issues, I definitely want to make sure that they do a better job on the budget. I think we should we have our 6% sales tax. So 1% is voted in every 4 years. I think the county should start planning on a 5% tax, and that's why they make their budget off of 5%. That 1% can go away at any time, and then what are you gonna do? You're struggling for money. We need to make our budget off the 5%. Housing, I want the housing, definitely, we need growth. Unfortunately, with what we have as far as manufacturing, we don't have any housing. Like, went and showed the houses today to a young kid, mailman, young kid, really nice kid, and he can only afford a certain amount. And I said, I don't know where we're gonna find. So we went and looked at a couple things. And I'm gonna struggle like heck, but I'm gonna try and find that kid something. So we need to get housing growing, but we need to keep the cost down. And my idea, and I brought up already to the city administrator and the planning department, is whenever you build a house and they have a tap fee when you tap into the sewer and water line, it's $8,000 to $10,000 or more.
Right.
I want any house that's under 1,200 square feet to be no more than $1,000. then they cut the permit fees in half. Let's give ourselves a break here. Why are we charging so much? Now, if you got a 5,000 square foot house, yeah, you're gonna pay 8 to 10,000 or 12 or 15 because you're the ones using all the sewer. We can cut costs on our housing just by doing a few little extra things. It's not gonna hurt us. I mean, once you move into the house, you're gonna have a monthly bill. You know, I mean, let's help each other. Let's help the community out. And by making a few cuts, we can do it. So, and with the prices coming down, as far as wood costs and everything else, those prices are coming down. What's killing us is the interest rates right now. That's really hurt bad. There's a lot of plans to build. Everybody's kind of holding back, waiting to see what's going to happen. But we need to continue because, and you know, I mean, 2008, when that crash came in California, that's where I was at. And that's why I'm up here, because we were in bad shape. And we can't let that happen here. We've got to continue to grow. And I think if Sheridan and the city and the county work together and not let the outside influences bother us what's going on outside, and if we really work together and help us out, we can make it. So,
Thank you.
hope I answered that. Yes, sir.
You mentioned multifamily housing. What are you
Yes.
referring to by that?
Multifamily housing, and I don't mean like, 8, 10 families living together. It's basically multi-families would be apartment complexes, stuff like that, where you have single families or seniors living together. Yeah, that can be multi-family. I would imagine I answered that right. I don't know. Single family home would be like my wife and I and the children. Multi-family would be combinations of seniors and families living together in the same areas.
Because I have a concern with apartment complexes being built here.
Yeah, there is.
We really don't want, I don't want that. I came up here to get away from that sort of thing.
Vermont.
Apartment complexes.
Well, there's gonna be some apartment complexes, and the reason is because we need rentals. And it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen a lot. We're not gonna be like a lot of communities where that's all you're gonna see. But I know there's gonna be some built.
Yeah, because from what I've lived in there most of my life.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of drugs, crime, especially in the lower rent ones.
Yeah.
Welfare queens, not the kind of people we want.
Right.
And I have a dear friend. I moved up in Colorado Springs earlier this year, and I have a friend living in a low income housing down there. And she says it's currently being overrun with immigrants.
Yeah.
People coming across.
And I deal with a lot of people from Colorado
We really
right now.
don't need that up here.
No, I know we don't need that here, but I'm gonna tell you, it's already here.
No, we don't need to be.
We have drugs already here, and it's one of the reasons people are selling drugs through their cell phones. Get that out of the schools. We will have apartment complex. We're not gonna just build apartment complexes. That's not what we're gonna end up doing. But we need some rental apartments. We definitely do. Low income housing for what you're talking about, I don't see a whole lot here. I haven't been involved with any that are gonna be built except for one that I know is gonna, and I don't think it's gonna be considered low income housing. I think it's more rental complexes, and you have to have a certain income to live in them, but I haven't heard the final deal on that, so I don't really know a lot on that one. Yes, sir.
How you doing, Jack?
Good.
Harry Pollock, we met just a minute ago. So last week at the city council meeting, you talked about how they do things that aren't right. One of the things that they did last week was approve taxpayer funds to go toward a nonprofit. And I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about that.
If that's the one that, the cat, second cat,
That's right.
yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't have voted for it. And one of the reasons, which I just found out about a couple days later, is they had brought a bunch of cats up from Texas because they were gonna be euthanized. And they didn't want them to be killed, so they brought them up here. Now, who's paying for it? Taxpayers. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that. We have a dog and cat shelter. It's full. Do we need to start euthanizing all the extra cats and dogs? That's a hard question. I've been involved when I lived in San Diego, they did that all the time. We are overrun with dogs and cats and deer and everything else. And our deer, what do? We take them out. And we say we're passing the food on to the food banks and stuff like that. Of course, you can't do that to dogs and cats and everything else either, but, you know, who knows, but, yeah, I listened to that and I was shocked it passed, I really was. I wouldn't have voted for that at all, especially after finding out. I wish it had been brought up, that wasn't brought up, that they brought animals up from Texas.
Nope.
And I found out by another councilman that went and met with them before the vote. And, she still voted for it. I wouldn't have done that, but there are nonprofits in town, that do help our people. Should we open book? No. Habitat is one of them, that's why I'm backing out if I get on the council, because I don't want to be a conflict of interest. Habitat is probably one of the major helpers of our community, of a nonprofit that I know of. They help people get a house, they help them get loans, they help them with costs, all that is, and it's funny because they just don't give them. This is what some people think, they just build a house and give it to them, and it's not that way. They have to meet WCDA guidelines, they have to have a full-time job, they have to have a credit score that's in mid-600s, which I know some people that don't have that and worked all their life. They have to help build the house, which basically means yard work or hauling stuff. They don't get a free ride. And then they have to pay their payment, and if things don't happen, of course, Habitat buys the house back. As far as handing money out freely to a lot of the nonprofits I've heard of the last year, I don't agree with a lot of it. I really don't. Well, one example, one I get upset about is NFL. That's a nonprofit. Billions of dollars they make. Billions of dollars they make. And they're not doing anything with that money. It's going in somebody's pocket. So it's, to me, that they shouldn't be a nonprofit at all. I think nonprofits are being, there's too many of them getting nonprofits when they shouldn't be a nonprofit, if I can say that right. Everybody could be a nonprofit and then go to the city council and ask for money. I don't really think we should be passing our tax dollars out like that. I hope I answered it. Long answer, but I was there that night and I thought, was shaking my head thinking, no way. So.
Especially after they were informed.
Pardon?
I said especially after they were informed constitutionally, they weren't allowed to do it.
I knew one of them that knew about it and voted for it, and I didn't know that until a few days ago, and I was shocked again, so, yeah.
Thank you.
So how
Yes.
familiar are you with the Wyoming state constitution?
Not very, I'll be honest.
'Cause I was gonna say.
I have the book and I've been reading it, but to sit here and tell you articles and this and that, no, I can't do it. And that's being just honest.
No, that's what we want.
Yes, sir, did you?
Some people may think that the council is just a rubber stamp for the planning department, the planning commissioner, or the planning commission, and or city administration. Any thoughts on that?
I've seen that. Yeah. You know, that's probably one of the biggest reasons I'm running. One of the biggest reasons I'm running, because it seems like there's too many things that are being voted on and passed that they're not doing enough investigating. I'll tell you one thing I threw a fit about when they wanted to move the train. $150,000 they wanted the city to pay for, and then they wanted the city, once it was built, they wanted the city to take care of it, taxpayer money. They wanted them to vote that night to do it. The environmental impact report hadn't even been done yet. There was more contamination in that ground than you can believe. That should not have been voted on at all until that environmental impact report was done, then brought before the city council and said, okay, we've got a bunch of contamination here. It's gonna cost how many thousands of dollars take care of it. But they tried to pass that through before that was even done. That wasn't right. And I'm glad they voted it down. They're probably glad too, because there are a lot of upset people about that. And I would have never voted for that. I hope I answered that. No, I agree with you. That's one reason why I'm running. You can't pass everything through just because it looks great on paper. You know, there's not enough investigating. We're not meeting enough with planning department. We're not meeting enough with the people that are involved with building around here. We just come in, hey, they talk one night at a forum, and then, hey, it's passed. We just talk, let's do our investigating. Let's check things out. So,
Thank you.
and I'm gonna tell you it's something else, since I'm saying this on my radio ad. I will never vote to defund our police department. That ain't gonna happen. I will defend them. I will defend them 100%. So just so you know that, because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you anything that you're not gonna hear out there. So, be straight with all of you. Yes, ma'am.
The mayor is an elected official,
Yes.
correct? But then they gave his power to a city administrator
Right.
that is not accountable to the people. Where's his checks and balances?
I wasn't involved in that one. Yeah, you know, I've talked to several of them about that and what the deal is with that. And they said, from what I've been told, they said it was a good thing because he oversees what the mayor just can't pass something because he wants to pass it. It's got to go through him first. He basically runs the roost.
Then why do we have a mayor?
Good question. I think the city administrator has all the power and oversees making sure stupid mistakes aren't being made, but they're still being made. You'll probably hear me through the years, because don't mind stirring the pot, because when you stir the pot, a lot of times you get a really good sauce when you're done. And when you're stirring the pot, you'll see where the lumps are, and you gotta get rid of the lumps, if that makes sense. I've met with the city administrator, met with the planning department, met with chief police, met with the Greg Harnish County Fire Department. I met one-on-one with Joe Biden, which I don't know how you guys feel about him. That guy was pretty straight up. He's the only one who would talk to me, the only one who answered my phone calls, and the only one who came down and told me things I wanted to hear. And he tried to stop the property taxes being raised. Your politicians that we have out there right now, that you guys voted to raise our property taxes. They voted to raise our registration fees. One of them tried to make I-80 a toll road. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. They tried to raise our gas tax. Luckily that was voted down. This kind of stuff goes on and on and on. Being a city councilman, I can't do anything about it, but I can sure raise some hell about it. And I don't have a problem doing that.
What are you talking about? Is it Bo Biteman? Is that what you're talking about?
Bo Biden was the one
Okay,
that met with
yeah,
me on
the
one-on-one.
legislator. Yes.
And
yes,
he-
good.
I'll tell you folks, we sat there and talked for an hour straight, and he just flat told me how he feels, and he told me that he's trying to pass the crossover voting, he tried to stop that. They voted him down, and he tried to make it a public vote to where people knew who voted for what, and they fought him on it. They don't want you to know what they're doing. So, I should run for Congress, I'd really myself.
So how are you gonna stand up, like, for us with the property tax thing? Because it's just, there's no way
It's ridiculous.
that my house, what they value it at,
Right.
is, if it's that much money, holding on.
Well, what gets me is, this is one thing I brought up to Bo, and I think he agreed with me in quite a bit of stuff, which is kind of nice to hear. The property taxes, the city council, we can't do anything about it. You know, that's state, but I can raise hell about it. My idea to Bo and what he was going to try and do, and what I'd like to seriously do, and I don't know if I could get anybody to back it, But I'd like the city council and the county commissioners get together and propose, tell the state that you're not gonna send your, tax assessor to our town and assess properties unless they're sold or it's land that's gonna be developed. Our taxes stay the same from day one until the property's sold. They shouldn't be coming in here. It's like my house. I spent $80,000 remodeling my house. They didn't help me. But why you come in here and raise my taxes? Because I spent money to make my house look better, make it more energy efficient, and safer living. But then you come to raise my damn taxes. I raised hell with Mo about that, and he's tried to stop that and got fought by people that are in there right now. Yes, sir.
So, not about property taxes, but yeah, property taxes did go up 43% between 2020 and 2021.
Yep.
And a lot of folks that got their tax bill for 2022 were shocked. People are gonna be out of their homes.
No, I
for a
agree.
short amount of time.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm gonna talk about a different tax. You brought it up earlier about the state has a 4% sales tax. Sheridan County, does, 2% on top of that.
Mhm.
And you talked about, making it 5%. There's gonna be a ballot measure on the November, ballot, to increase that 1 cent, GPET monies, the general purpose, tax. It seems to me that gets put on the ballot, but there's no investigation done as to if those monies are actually needed to sustain the city, support it, or is it just a matter of directors and managers and city administrators getting raises and filling their own pockets? If you get elected, what do you plan on doing about that?
Well, it might be passed before I even get in, but, you know, our infrastructure is a major issue. We definitely, is old, and we have to make sure it stays up, and as we build, we need to add more infrastructure. The 1 cent tax right now that we vote on every 4 years, there's a lot of money that the city's taking off of that for issues that I don't think they should be really using that money for. I really would rather have us stay at our 4 or 5 cent tax. It's 5 cents right now, isn't it? Then the 1 cent? Then we voted in the 1 cent, and I can't believe everybody's still voting that in, personally. I think the city needs to really take a good look at itself and stay within that 5 cent range and make our budgets off of 5 cent. I know that they're not. They're using that 6 cents and planning on it. I think the city takes 68% of that 1 cent right now. You gotta stop planning to have that money. I mean, if it gets voted out, what are you gonna do? They need to go back and stay on that 5 cent tax. And I won't vote for any tax raises. I'm just, the way I feel about a lot of stuff is I be in the big picture, a lot of common sense, and being around a lot of stuff I've been through the years with other presidents, administrations. We just keep hammering ourselves, and I don't understand that. We keep voting in the same people, and they keep hammering us, and then they come down here and tell us, oh, we're not gonna do this, do that, but then they go back and do it. We really need to make a change. We really do need to make a change. And I don't know how like I said, my radio ads right now, one of them, I won't vote to put chemicals in our water. That's a scam to put that stuff in the water, make your teeth better. That's not gonna work. Seriously, that's a ripoff. Putting red light cameras in your intersections to stop people running red lights, it's not gonna stop people running red lights. That's another scam. It's just not gonna happen. I think more common sense and just being the knowledge of what I've done through the years and been around. I mean, I've worked my butt off all these years in the trucking industry and all that stuff. And I just get tired of what I see. I mean, I'm working my ass off and I keep paying more taxes and paying more fees. And another word for taxes, fees, the great new word they bring out. And And this last year on my vehicle registration fee, I got a 2007 Dodge truck. I might drive 6,000 miles a year. My registration went up and I'm going, are you freaking kidding me? This is ridiculous. Personally, I think our registration fees should be half of what they are. We should be able to have a 6-month registration fee for our trailers and our 4-wheelers or whatever we use for hunting, camping, fishing, because they sit most of the time. Let's do things right. I mean, let's start working for each other and helping each other. And we can't do anything about the registration fees. The city council can't. And I've already been raising hell about it. What do? You just have, personally, you just have to keep raising hell. Somebody's gonna listen, somebody's gonna hear you. You know, I just went on Facebook and did a thing on the drought. They're not doing anything for the drought. Nothing. That climate change bill's a bunch of crap. Does nothing to make the drought go away. I talked to Dave Kinsey and I brought it up to him. I said, why does Wyoming get a hold of Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Idaho, Montana, California, and Texas to start building desalination plants, start pumping that water into our infrastructure, fill our rivers and streams, and then when Mother Nature can't provide, we got it. Oh, it costs too much. I said, well, you got $13 billion going overseas right now to blow people up. Well, that's one guy who wouldn't talk to me. Yes.
I was on the planning commission for 2 years,
Okay.
and I can attest that the city council often rubber stamps whatever the boards and commissions say. They appoint their friends are sometimes connected, and they pass sweet deals for their connected friends within the area. With the city council often just rubber stamping the recommendations. And we did some hard work on the planning commission, because I was not one of those connected people being new to town at the time.
Yeah, I'm not either. So.
That being said, the city administrator position is relatively new, and it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to have an unelected bureaucrat think he's in charge of the city, while the mayor has abdicated all his responsibility and pretty much given away all the voters' power to bounce who's ever in charge of the city. So, considering that Sheridan had survived for over a century without a city administrator, how would you feel about voting to eliminate the position of city administrator?
Be honest about it, and write this down, because if you vote for it, I want to tell you that I will vote to get rid of it. So,
That's all I hear.
the mayor, look, our mayor needs to have the guts and power to make a decision and stand up to those that, basically doing wrong or trying to bully us through. I've seen, just being around the town and a few places, we have a Jackson Hole influencer. I'm not happy about that at all. Here we're advertising $799,000 townhomes downtown, and we can't even build a $300,000 home for the people that need it. I'm talking to the wife, she hears me jumping up and down, thinking, what the, seriously, I don't get it. And the city administrator, I hear good things and I hear bad things, but if we had a strong mayor that would stand up and not rubber stamp things, which I've seen lately, and I like Rich, I like Rich, not personal against him.
He's a nice guy, yeah.
He is a nice guy, but he's, I don't want to be crude. Let's just say he needs to stand up and throw some.
Yeah,
So, I really do like Rich, but I don't see why we have it if we had a strong mayor and a strong city council.
Became a de
That
facto
would-
council manager.
We can't keep, so many things have been passed lately, in the past 6 months, I've been there and watching stuff that I would have thought, no way.
Such as
Well, the cat thing for one.
the cat, the train, what else?
The cat, the train, I don't think the dog and cat show should be getting $100,000 a year for nothing. I shouldn't say nothing, they do have a pretty good thing, but they're considered a nonprofit and they go out and get funds all the time. They get a lot of money. I think things are being wasted. I think some of our the city really needs to crack down and stop wasting money. I think there's just so much being wasted. Our police force just got 7 new vehicles. They got out of,
Six
New York
went-
City.
They got 6, 1 went to fire. But they
Oh, yeah, that's
purchased
right,
it under
that's
the
right, yeah,
umbrella
you're right.
of police
And they said that, they couldn't get them here because it'd be 8 to 10 months before they got them.
locally. Yep.
So, my idea would say, okay, let's get 3 and then order local. We got plenty of time. I mean, we could have gotten 3 of them locally and then taken the other 3 right now. That would have helped us out. We could have saved some money doing it local, I think. I'm into doing local stuff. If we can't get it local and we have to have it now, then we go where we have to go. But I think we need to make sure we stay local. Help our community, help our business people. You know, that's, and I want to bring something else up too. I'm running one thing because during this pandemic, I've seen things that I didn't think I'd seen this year. I've seen people yell, scream at each other over a damn mask. Look, we all have a choice. If you want to wear a mask, I don't care, wear a mask. If it makes you feel better, wear a mask, it's fine. I will not jump on you, and none of us should jump on them either. But if I choose not to wear a mask and you want to wear a mask, don't chew on me either. That's my decision. We all have a choice. And I don't think we need to come back together and be like we used to be when I used to come here. Everybody waved to each other, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it's because outside influences have moved here too fast and we haven't kept caught up. It does concern me. I know I was yelled at when I went to Alaska. I got a trip that I never thought I'd get with my son. And I was standing at the Seattle airport. Of course, I, should have known.
Yeah, the People's Republic of
And I had a cup of coffee, man. I was drinking a cup of coffee, and she goes, "Sir, you gotta have your mask on in the airport." And I said, "I'm drinking a cup of coffee, thank you." I turned around and walked away, and she turned me into the police department. So they're standing there watching me, and I'm drinking my coffee. I knew I was right because they said you can have it off when you're drinking or eating. And I bought it just because I didn't want to wear a mask. I mean, honest, I didn't want to wear a mask, so I got a cup of coffee. And I was surprised, I thought, this is crazy. And I understand, one thing I can tell you is stop listening to or stop watching the major news channels. You want to watch something, watch local. You're not getting all the BS. You're not getting all this. They scare the hell out of you. They try to scare the hell out of you. The higher ratings, the more money they get. Every day turn something on, it's breaking news. Let me tell you the same thing over and over and over again. It's been going on for a week. It's not breaking news. We already knew about it. You just changed the words. Well, I listen to local. The major news channels drive me nuts. Anything?
I have one quick question.
Yes.
We're almost out of time. I don't have to be the last
Hold
one,
on.
but
I'm having so much fun.
I like to ask this of all the candidates.
Okay.
It's a personal thing for me. If you have any sort of faith, what is it, and what role does it play in your life?
Well, we've been going to First Baptist Church. I've always worked a lot, 7 days a week, so I didn't have a lot of time to go to church. I definitely do believe in it. Not as strong as probably a lot of people. I believe that if you believe in yourself and do right, you're doing what God wants you to do. We do go to church when we can. The First Baptist down there is probably one of the best churches that I've been in that I've liked. I've been to several churches here in town, and we just felt comfortable over there. We had my son-in-law's funeral there. He did a fantastic job. I think faith is something we all need, and especially now. And I can't keep bringing up to we're heading into a dark time. And I'll tell you, since I've been through it a couple times and lost everything from years ago, I know what it's like. And that's one reason why I'm running, because we've got to cut the budget. We've got to watch what we're doing. And we've gotta help continue to grow with our housing, because if the housing stops, you see what happens, you know what happens. Unemployment. You got people not being able to live with people, and I mean, trust me folks, it gets bad. The older folks, I'm 71, and no disrespect, but you've been around the block, you know where it's going, you know what it's like. You know, I don't wanna be there again. I wanna make sure that we're heading the right way. Not every decision I'm gonna make, everybody's gonna like. Not every decision I'm gonna make is, probably right. I'm gonna do what I think is right. I think that's one reason why I'm running, because I just see some things that I'm just shaking my head at. I'm thinking, we're not going the right way. We need to turn this around. So, hoping I can do that and help out. And like I say, I don't have a problem with stirring the pot. Sometimes you have to.
Growth is inevitable.
Yes, sir.
And I also agree it's a good thing, but it needs to be controlled by us, not by developers.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree. There's developers coming into town, there's some good ones. There's some bad ones. I wish we had question and answers, and they had to go through the city council to become contractors here, and with the inspectors and everybody else. There's, right now, an inspector can hang a shingle and say, I'm a home inspector. We have 4 really good ones that I like to use because I can trust them. And then I can call them and say, what's the deal on this? And they'll tell me exactly what's going on. And there's some that I don't, and I won't use. Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick, before development goes in, is there someone that is doing a survey on the water situation or water supply?
As far as I know, all of them are, I haven't been really involved in the planning yet of it, but they have to go through and check for sewer, water, and can they put it through, there's a new planning area down here south of Home Depot, I guess, behind 5-acre lots. What I don't like about that one is they're having septic in, and why didn't we take our time and have the sewer and water run so we can get it into the system instead of putting more septic tanks? I don't really want to see a lot more septic tanks. I think that's not a good thing. If you're way out and you have to have it, sure. But this is right here in town. Yes, it would have been a lot more money, but you take it down the road in the future, then it'll be there for the next development. I think having septic tanks out here right behind, I guess it's the Sports Emporium, or right back in that corner, back in there, the building back in there. I wish they would have brought in sewer and water, but they're putting septic tanks, and I cringed when I heard that. I thought, oh my God, that's a high water table right there. I don't think it's right. So,
It's a
probably too late to stop too. Pardon?
Oh, gosh, it just hit me what you said, sorry.
Yeah, they're already grading back there. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm not being in the council before, and you being on the planning board, you know more about it a lot than I do. I'll learn a lot as I go, but some of the things I see, I wish we would just do things right. I mean, our infrastructure, I know, costs a lot of money. They're gonna try and run water sewer up over 5th Street and start a development up there, which they could do septic tanks up there, but no, just do it right. Let's get it up there. And so, really, in our water system right now, talking to Dave Roberts and stuff, and they did a whole thing on it. Our EPA, our water is above the EPA standards. And I really hope we keep it that way, and I plan on trying to keep it that way, because once you start having issues, look at back east, they're having a mess. We gotta make sure our water system and everything's in good shape all the time. And that's why I say adding chemicals to it, I couldn't believe they did that. That was one of the biggest scams. My brother-in-law, Kathleen's brother, is a supervisor at a water company down in San Diego, and he said, don't let them do it, it's a scam, it's a scam. I said, too late. Those companies pay you a lot of money under the table. So, Yeah, you don't need stuff in your water for your teeth. 90% of the water that comes out of your faucet, where's it go? Water in your yard, brushing your, doing your clothes, whatever you're doing, you're not brushing your teeth 90 minutes a day. Right now, you know how much water you gotta drink to get anything out of that? You wouldn't be able to walk. Yes, sir.
Just to tie it up, if you do make it on the city council, how will you make yourself available to voters after you're on council to talk to us?
My phone number's always there, will be there, my email will always be there, you can call me, I'll come and meet. If you guys have an issue, I'll be glad to come and meet. I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you.
Yes.
One more question, the council in general, how accessible is that to citizens?
You know, I wish everybody get more involved, because you can come to all the meetings.
Okay.
And I really wish you would get more involved, because that will stop some of this.
Yeah.
Seriously, well, we need people there to listen, get up, they have a time where you can get up and talk about what they're gonna be voting on, or your opinion on it. That's why I got up and threw the environmental impact report on the drain move. I've done hazardous waste, that's what my son specializes in, underground water contamination and tanks, and he was telling me, they better check it. So, they didn't, luckily we voted out. But yeah, no, I'll be accessible, I don't have, my email and text is probably the best way to get ahold of me, because my phone blows up quite a bit at times, and I'm busy with clients or something, or with family. But yeah, send me an email, if you guys wanna meet, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I'm here to work for you, you know, that's my thing. City councilman, I'm city councilman for the city and you, and that's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Shall we wrap up? Okay, if you wouldn't mind, or if you're able to stick around for a little bit afterwards, maybe 10-15 minutes.
Sure.
And if anybody has an individual question they wanted to ask Jack, that would be all right. And then we'll get ready for Mr. Lumen to come. So thank you, Jack.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys asking me here. I've never did this, and I kept wondering what I was getting into.
Not so bad.
But you know, this is what it's all about. It's you. I mean, you gotta let me know what you like, what you don't like, and what we can change. And without you saying something, how are we gonna know? And I really wish more people would get involved in coming to the city council meetings. They're every Monday. They have a study session on one Monday, the first and third, and then I think the council meeting is the second and fourth. I can't recall right now. But show up, fill that place.
Tomorrow night is the 5 o'clock study session.
Yeah.
And then next Monday will be the 7 o'clock
Yeah,
regular council meeting.
yeah. This tomorrow night's study session. Tomorrow night will be at the Wild Theater watching the candidates there, trying to learn more and seeing what's going on there. So I won't be at that council meeting, but I'm not a councilman, so that's why I won't be there. But I want to know more about what's going on from the other side. But one thing I would really want to bring up to you is, please, our schools are a mess. We need board members that are gonna just take control, take the schools back. I'm really hard-nosed on the phones. I've seen too much of that. I had a teacher just tell me the other day, she's in her classroom, kids are talking and texting on the phones, and they tell them to put them down, and they smart mouth them, tell them, no, I don't, this is my right, and the parents will attack the teachers. And no, either get the phone out or get your kid out. I'm sorry, you get the phones out, you gotta we all need to raise hell about that. Get the phones out of schools.
Not the school of the, I was gonna say my daughter was expelled for having a phone.
Yeah, good, I'm sorry.
That was back in the day. No, that wasn't
I-
recently.
There's bullying going, there's bullying going on in drug cells, there's all kinds of stuff that, I'll tell you, I wish there was more people here, because I'd like to tell you, you got kids in junior high or high school, get their phone, make them give it to you every night at 9 o'clock when they go to bed, make sure you know all their codes, and start monitoring their phones. You will be surprised. Cause I know a lot of parents, say, not my Johnny. Oh yes, your Johnny's the worst. No, just seriously, folks, really pay attention on that phone, and if you have kids with them, monitor. I know you don't like that. Tell me.
14?
He
Yeah.
doesn't have a phone.
Good. Good. Trust me. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's, man, well, I need it for emergencies. Call the school and have them get them.
The school's got a phone.
They don't need that phone on, folks. Yes, sir.
I can tell you in the junior high, the kids can bring their phones to school. They're not allowed to be out during school time. You have to be turned off in the lockers.
They're out in schools and they're talking on them during schools.
Probably depends on the teacher maybe.
And I talked to a teacher yesterday, Jesse, telling me she had kids argue back there, and they can't stop it in the schools.
That was high
The
school,
kids either will
Yeah, I
fight
was
back,
gonna say, that's not the junior
kids
high.
will fight back with them, or the parents will come into the school raising hell. And I don't give a damn what a parent says, get that phone out of school. That's just my opinion. And I was raised with no phone in my school,
Didn't exist.
but that was in the 60s. So,
But I didn't have one
There was
either.
no phone
So
and
I'm
if
not,
you
I'm
did
not
something
dogging on it,
right,
I'm just telling you.
yeah.
They didn't